Hello, welcome to our show Tracing Embodied Conversations. My name is Amber and I am here together with Carolina. Carolina, I see you're also for the
Yeah.
people that see us live. Carolina is holding this drawing. Can you tell a little bit of what you're holding?
Yes, this drawing is actually the reason that we are here, because we made a project here with the OT community, and we've made these drawings which recorded our conversation with the people from OT 301 Collective.
Yes, and this all has to do with embodiment, and that's also a little bit what our show is going to be about. Um, yeah, so let's introduce ourselves a little bit more.
So yeah, we are from the iMAE Plus program, which is an international master's artist educator program in the ARTES University of Arts. And we are here, we are only two students of our year, and we wanted to share our experience with you. And we have some goals for this talk.
Yeah, we'd like to share our methods that we use as artist educators and give some inspiration maybe to other artists, researchers, or educators. Whether you're working as like a freelancer or if you're working in bigger
Yeah.
institutions. Yeah, we want to inspire you to create some connections between working with communities and informal structures and more formal and bigger institutions, because that's what we also do. Furthermore, we're quite a small program, and the program is quite new as well. So we want to sort of introduce ourselves and our work to the world and a bigger audience to promote new ways of working that tackle socially
Yes.
relevant issues. Um,
So we will
yeah.
talk about more in depth about our program, what are the main goals of this program, the main topics, and also the struggles we are going through because it's Corona time, so everything is complicated. And we will share our practice, our processes of working with arts and education. And we'll also leave some space for questions from the audience. So you can text your questions on our Instagram.
Yes, and our Instagram is called the E plus and then line
Yes.
collective. So E
So
plus collective.
you will find us there, and you can text us your questions. So we'll ask this question in the last 15 minutes of the program.
Yes,
So
so
what is the iMAE Plus program?
yeah, so IMAE stands for International Master
Artisan.
Artist Educator.
It's quite a complicated title, as you can see. That's why we always use the iMAE
IMAE,
name.
yeah, the IMAE name. So we are a really small program, only with the two of us at this point. Um, this master is based on art-based
Yes.
research, and it kind of uh, tries to connect both art with research and education. So we are using art to create an educational output into the world. And at the core of this are social issues that we work with.
And that's this again the reason why we are here at the in this studio and why we work together with artists from here. And we what we also are addressing in this conversation today is about embodiment. So how also it's possible to, for example, talk with people in a more embodied way, recording sensations and feelings, and trying to put also these emotions in the research.
Yeah, so that's what we've been doing indeed at the OT. So here we've been doing some research through interviews. And for this, we actually set up a really nice like tea corner here outside where people could come by and have a chat with us. And one of us would do some sort of informal interview with the people that would come and talk. And the other person would actually make a drawing of both the flow of the conversation, the energy, and also some symbolism of how the person talked. And in this case, everybody talked about the collective of the OT 301. And with these drawings, we have sort of tried to capture an embodied perspective on how the collective itself views the collective of OT 301. And one thing that we do with this, and why we actually went out to work with other organizations, is because in our program we want to move out of the university and actually into the world, and to we want to work with issues and things that are really present.
Yes, indeed, we have this called site-specific colleges, which are different places where we go during this one-year program. So the first one was in Arnhem, where is the site of our university, and then we went here to Amsterdam, but we lived in Zaandam and we worked with the HEM. And then we are going to again to Arnhem and then in Northern Ireland.
Yes, and we were actually supposed to go to Brussels as well, but COVID has been a little bit in our way for the program. But actually we've managed quite well, so now we're going back to Arnhem, and I am actually staying in the Amsterdam area, so we're also splitting up a little bit now.
Yeah.
But what is also important, I think, to mention is that our program is not a regular master program because we move out of these universities, but also because in this program we don't have the normal teacher-student hierarchy. So together with our teachers, we are actually more of a research group. And we don't really have a structure, so they really, which was also quite difficult, because they really asked us, like, you know, what are the topics that you want to work with and the issues that you want to work with? And then they were trying to see if they could bring out other people, other teachers that were specialists in these topics. So, for example, we both work with a topic that's can be quite sensitive and has a lot to do with trauma. So we got a workshop from Trauma International, to talk about that. So we really structured our program a little bit.
Yeah, the teachers always ask us, what do we need, for example, which is a curious question in a regular master program. So indeed, because also we started in February instead of September because of COVID, and it's such a small group. We started with 3 students. And so we really have a close relation with our teachers, and
they really work together with us. Yeah, and it's like a little family that we are now. Also because here in Zaandam we've been living. We actually got a house with a dog.
A very sweet dog.
Yeah, really sweet dog. So we really arranged everything a little bit like a family, and the teachers actually came to our house to teach us. So it was really fun.
Yeah.
And so now we're working at the OT 301. Can you tell us a little more maybe about the bigger project? Because we've been doing these drawings. But what is the social issue behind this?
So this project is actually a project, a bigger project connected to diversity and inclusion, which is a project led by one of the members of the 301, which is Emma. And she introduced us to this project, and we came up with a question, with a starting question. which is what this collective does mean for for the members of it. So
Yeah, because we noticed that we didn't just want to, and I think the people also didn't want us here to come and talk about how can you get more inclusion and how can you get more diversity without really looking at the collective itself and what it means to the people and why it's sort of built the way it is. So this project, how we approached it, is really from the ground up instead of having this bigger topic and sort of implementing that
yes,
on
indeed,
the
because
community.
also the word itself, diversity, inclusion, can mean a lot. So
Yeah, and
we
it
wanted
brings so many
to,
ideas already.
yeah, I wanted to bring people ideas. So really start from the ground. Really simple question: what does this collective mean to you?
Yeah, and now we've been leaving a little bit of snippets, maybe I can call it that, of these drawings so the people can actually start thinking a little bit more about it themselves before the rest of the bigger project continues.
Yes, indeed. So we were the first one working with the already established group on this project, and we kind of opened the road. We opened the project. So there will be further development. It will last until the end of November. So we are very curious how it will go.
Yeah.
And so, how is this project connected to our program? Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this? Yeah, maybe we can explain a little bit for both of us why we are in this program and how then slowly go to
Sure.
how it's connected. So
So, how was it for you? Why did you get into this program?
yeah, so I have a background in cultural anthropology actually, and beside that, I have also been painting most of my life, and lately I got a little bit more into social enterprising, and I've been doing a lot of research, anthropological research in Manila in the Philippines actually. And there I was working with this small like homeless community, and we were always working with art. So here the women from this community actually were crocheting products, so we could create a business together with them and then sell the products so these women could earn some money. And here I really noticed like, okay, it can be really fun to actually combine a few things, like the art, like the social enterprising, and it can really bring something to the people. But at that time, this business was really small, and I think, yeah, the people didn't really get out of it yet what it was. There was a lot of potential that didn't yet get reached. And me as an anthropologist, I did like I wrote an ethnography about the community. And after a few more projects, I noticed that anthropology was not bringing enough for me. Like it was really about understanding the people that I was working with. But I missed that sort of action that comes after that. That
I
comes
see.
from working with the people and actually creating something. So in the iMAE program, I found a sort of way to combine this anthropology, so this from the ground up, and this sort of community work together with the social enterprising, and I could actually bring in my own creative side as well, which had until then been sort of more like a hobby, right?
Sure.
And now I can actually share it, and I really want to work with people and create something with them, and not just me creating something for them, right? Or creating something that I think would fit here.
Sure.
Yeah, and when I was in Manila, actually, I got to meet a lot of artists as well, and I think these artists really have inspired me to embrace this creative side and to also continue with what I would like to do and with my dreams, essentially.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so for that, I would really like to play a song of one of my favorite bands from there, which is called Sleep Kitchen. And I've always been seeing them perform, and I really like their music. And these people really inspired me to continue on this path. So here is Sleep Kitchen with the song Raven.
Tonight, like your suit wash gas burns to life tonight. Papa, I know what the rain feels like. I wash my skin off with strychnine when I can't recall what your voice was like. One in the sea of 1,000 eyes. And Papa, I know what the rain feels like. I'm coming to terms with most our lies, and you're coming apart before my your child behind the kitchen counter tonight. I'm still your child behind the kitchen counter tonight. I'm still your child behind the kitchen counter tonight.
Yes, so that was Sleep Kitchen. What did you think of the song, Carolina?
It's really nice. Really a lot of emotions flowing. So I think it's connected also to our topic.
Yes, a little bit, I think. Yeah, so again, we are open for questions at the last part of this show. You can ask our questions through Instagram, and therefore you can go to the Eplus Collective. And now we've been hearing a bit of my background and a bit of my story. But Carolina, how did you get into this program?
Yeah, sure. So I had a different background than Amber. My background is more into arts, especially in arts theory and performance, which I studied in Milan. And I wanted to study art because I wanted to dig deeper and understand what is my approach in the arts, what is my role, what's my position, because I didn't know, but I really wanted to use my creativity every day. So I started this program. It's my Academy of Fine Arts, and I don't know, I discovered a lot of artists, and step by step I realized that I want to do something that is more outside the museum. It's not like just a sculpture or a painting. It's not just a sculpture, but I mean something which connects people. So I really wanted to had this desire to work with people like you had, and to work with social issues. So to use my arts like something useful, something for the people and with the people, and not just made by myself. So with this intention, with strong intention, I want to test myself. And one day it was really something really unexpected. I was living outside Milan, and there was this library, and they had a call for arts. So I was like, oh, that's maybe something for me. And they wanted I collect ideas for the space. And because there was not a lot for women in the space, like activities, like creative activities, and I said, okay, maybe I can do something. And so I applied to this call, and I written down this project proposal which mixed yoga and creativity. So I just invited women from that place, from that small city, and they came. 5 women came, and we did 3-day session with yoga exercises, with relaxation, and then I just guided them to the creative process, just to draw really freely, use a lot of materials, paper, scissors, paint, whatever. And we created together. So we shared this creative process. And in that moment, I realized, oh, this is something I love, and I want to do more with this. But I felt like I didn't have like competencies. I wanted to know the structure, also to how transform this idea as something really professional. So then I started to look on the web. So I was living in Italy, and I saw this program in the Netherlands. And
you came all the way from Italy for this program.
Yes, indeed. And so I applied to this program. I met our coordinator, Lotte, and I had a chat with her, and she really inspired me. So that's why I'm here right now.
And can I ask, because you wanted to sort of find the structure of how to bring these things into reality, right? Yes. And now we're in a program where there's basically no structure. How is that for you? Is it what you expected, or is it really different?
So it's different, but it's even better than what I expected, because our program is so open. So we have to make structure, we have to built from our own needs. And that's also why I can learn more. I'm learning more about myself, actually. So this was kind of our first phase, to learn more about ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I relate to that because the first phase has been all about identity. That was sort of the main topic.
Yeah.
And what is it that you really maybe learned about your identity?
Yeah, so we did a lot of, let's say, exercises, a lot of presentation. They always asked, every new teacher asked us, how can you present yourself? Can you present your work? And every time our answers were different. So this is already an example how the identity is fluid. And what I've learned here, because I'm not only Italian, but actually I was born in Poland. And then when I was 11, I moved to Italy. And I kind of realized here, only here in the Netherlands, that I'm also Polish. I have this culture within myself. And I really started to feel it. And I'm actually doing a project connected to this.
Okay.
And how was it for you? What did you discover about yourself?
Ooh, I think I discovered a lot of things, but it's all bits and pieces in so many different topics, right? I think what I've learned most and what has come out the most is that I really want to work with movement and this embodiment actually. So where up until like 2-3 weeks ago, I've mostly been engaged in painting. I have now last week also done my first performance, which was really actually about my own body. So I really presented my own body and used my voice instead of showing an image, because I started to notice like that the images were especially if I made them, it didn't engage like a collective or other people as much.
Yeah, because you paint, right? It's
yeah,
also
'cause I
was your
paint.
medium, your first medium here.
Yeah, and because of the corona, we've been a bit restricted in actually working together with people very closely. So my paintings have been made by me about other people, and that's not what I want to do, right? So now I set up a performance which would actually invite a person to come and stand across from me, and we would both engage our bodies and connect by really standing in a room with the two of us, looking at each other and really doing something together. And it was really about the interaction between the other person and me. And so that was really new experience.
And can you elaborate more about this? Because this is connected to embodiment, right?
Yes, definitely.
This interaction.
Yes.
What theories, what ideas do you have about it?
Yeah, so I set this up based on a little bit of theory. And that is what we do, right? We do sort of academic research. We look into theories and we connect this to art and try to have like a educational output. And the social issue I worked with is sexual violence. So I think that's important to know.
Yes.
I looked at the theories of the body and what embodiment actually means. And I started to discover that the body is actually defined in 3 levels if you look at a phenomenological approach. And this means that the body consists of both the inner world, the physical world, so the actual physical body, and the direct interaction with your environment. So if you take all of these 3 things, I wanted to create a performance that touches upon all of them. So in my performance, I read a poem, and I hope at least that really hit the like inner world and the verbal, the mind, you know, the thinking about the topic of sexual violence. And the person had to enter a room and then enter another like sort of structure that I made and stand on a circle. So he really had to physically enter a space and physically connect with me, because I only started the performance once they started to look at me. So I engaged the body of myself and the other person, and then it was all about this interaction. So the performance was different depending on the person that was across from me and their reaction and the way they moved into this space.
Yeah.
So I hope that I was able to connect to all these 3 levels of the body. And for me, that's also what embodiment means, to actually engage the entire body and these 3 levels. So not only the physical, not only the mental or the intellectual, but also the interaction and everything together. And I believe really strongly that if you do that, if you're able to hit all these 3, then your work can have so much more of an impact. And that's why I want to reach this embodiment, because I think you remember it way better if the artwork also engages you in this way.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, and another thing actually is that if you engage the person in this way, you actually make them more of an active subject that can actually do something, instead of only like learning intellectually or looking or hearing something.
Yes, sure.
And that actually gives the person a sense of power, a sense of that this person also has a control. And I hope to bring this also in a form of education.
Nice. Yeah, we've been reflecting about this topic together, but individually.
Yeah.
And
so you have a little bit, you have a different view on what embodiment is, right? Or maybe it's still aligned a little bit, but definitely a different definition.
yes, indeed, because because of my performance art background, I started from there. So I started to ask myself, how can I merge together the performance art with the research itself? How can the performance and my body can be part of art-based research? And so to kind of find this missing piece, I was looking into this embodiment, but more from the critical pedagogy perspective. So it's really all about embodied learning. So how we learn more when our body and our mind is connected. So in order to overcome this dualism, which, for example, in school, you sit on a chair in front of a table and you just use your mind and you don't use your body most of the times. And I want to do the opposite. I want to learn through the body, through the movement, through the even the talking together, doing something together. It doesn't have to be dance or high quality performance, just doing, just action. And so starting from there, I'm working with this research question about a topic that is really important for me, and it's connected to my Polish roots. So it's about reproductive rights in Poland and how women are actually now struggling with having these rights. So during my research, I found this story of this person, and her rights of abortion were denied, even if she was facing health issues. Mm-hmm. So I read this story, and for the first time, I felt the power of the words in Polish in my body, and I realized that I want to read this story instead of performing it in a non-verbal way, which was my way before. I decided to use my voice, which was something new for me. This is, a discovery.
Yeah, and you also did something extra, right? With because you read it in Polish.
Yes, indeed. So this was a new piece in my research, in my
And
practice.
can you maybe explain like why did you read it in Polish?
Yes, so
What did it do for the performance?
So when I read it in Polish for the first time with my peers and my teachers, they said that it sounded very strong, that my voice was powerful, and even if they couldn't understand the text, they still couldn't understand the emotion. They could feel what the power of these words, the power of the sound. So this is also embodiment for me, when you can go beyond, use your body in all aspects,
Yeah. And you mentioned that you've been using yoga with this group of women.
Yes.
Are you still using your yoga now?
For now, I'm using it just for myself, to meditate, to prepare myself to the performance, to go into my creativity. So it's always there, but it's not present in my practice. Maybe it will, because now, we will see what will be our next step. But this will be later. Shall we maybe play another song?
Yeah, sure. What is the song that you have prepared?
So I know this band by person. They are from Milan. They are Primitive Mule, and the song is Man on the Street.
Okay, let's listen to it.
Voices in my head. Tell your story, you don't need to read. I follow my red flag. Hey, you, man on the street.
So welcome back. So we were talking about our processes, our ideas, but also we mentioned this Instagram page, which is the Eplus Collective. Why we have this page? What's the idea behind it?
Yeah, so the Eplus Collective, the name already says a little bit, like we wanted to start a collective because we want to sort of move away from the idea that we are students, and we wanted to have a different way of introducing ourselves and introducing what we do. And the idea in our program is not just to be students of this program, but it's actually way bigger. In this program, we, like as a whole, we want to start a sort of NGO, also with other people that come from this program, and we want to do our own projects, but also connect it to this program as a bigger thing. And
So what's your vision in this related to this NGO and Eplus Collective?
yeah, I think for the Eplus Collective, it's really to create a sort of new method of pedagogy,
Yes.
and something that's way more powerful, that puts a lot more, power is maybe not the right word, but that gives some more agency to the student itself. And so really gets rid of this hierarchy of a teacher that's gonna teach the students the knowledge that he or she has.
Yes, like we've learned in reading the book of Paulo Freire.
Yes, yeah. And I think another thing that I learned really through this process of doing this myself and really figuring out, okay, what are my interests and what moves me, is this idea of, intrinsic motivation, and also using the talents of each person. So we are very different people, and we really learn in a different way. Like, yeah, you like to have a lot of structure. I am always just moving around to all these different places, and then later on it sort of connects together.
Yes.
And the education that we want to create in the iMAE program is something that enables each student to learn in his or her own way and their own strengths.
Yes, sure.
And the Eplus Collective is a collective then of the two of us, which falls then under or next to the iMAE. And it's really more based, I think, on this idea of working with embodiment. So that's really our focus. And what do you think? Why did we? Because I think it's really useful to introduce ourselves in that way.
Yes, sure. And indeed, I wanted to present myself in a more professional way and already set some goals, set a vision for like a collective vision, because still this program also wants and the desire is to build also a community. So this is a very important aspect, and this is also something that led me here to this program, because it's kind of my dream to live in a community, to create a community where artists can support each other, but also you can work with people.
Yeah, and on these really important social issues. So we're talking about reproductive rights, and I'm talking about sexual violence. These are big issues nowadays, right? So instead of just, being a student, and we really want to step out of this student position and really do something.
Yes, and so connected to this, we will have like next steps in the program.
Yes.
So we go back to Arnhem, and this time we'll work with communities. So this will be our next step to bring our practice to close to people.
Yeah, so now we've been working with identity, and we made a little step here in the OT 301 space, right, to working with
Yeah.
communities. What is your plan for now we finished this project?
Yes, so I've been thinking, how can I use the methodology of this embodiment, of performance, or even how can we share stories with people, maybe especially stories of struggle and of difficulties. In this case, about women, for example, how the issues they're facing nowadays. So my plan is to work with a small community of women and to kind of collective stories and see what do they need, because we also learn, which is which is very important as researchers, to always ask what people need and what can we give to them, instead of just going there and expecting something.
Yeah.
It's more like an exchange. So I would love to experiment this way of exchanging.
Yes.
And I'm also very inspired by this Dutch artist, Jeanne. And she makes all these projects with communities, with people, and my other goal would be like to work with her.
Yeah.
So we will see what the future will bring to us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for me, I think I want to provide something in sexual education that will have this sort of impact on. Maybe I'm still doubting and searching a little bit, but I want to create some sort of toolkit in sexual education that prevents or helps people to recover from sexual abuse. And I want to do this in the form of an arts project that parents or teachers can actually do with teenagers. So that's my goal for this summer. And in October, we're also going to do something special.
Yes, indeed.
Because we are then moving to Northern Ireland, right? To move our work there.
Yeah, so we will there we will work with the network our teachers are setting for us there, and we will work with people from there. So again, there will be even more challenging. It's actually, that's why it's also the last step of our program. So to stay there 3 months and to put in practice the methods we've been developing.
Yeah.
And eventually in January to create this toolkit for with educational purposes. So in my case will be how, for example, can I address the topic of reproductive rights with a group of teenagers in schools, for example. How can we make this topic understandable and interesting for them, because it's very important for the future as well.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm also
do we have a
checking
question?
if we have any questions. We actually do. I also have a question myself for you.
Okay.
But before that, I'll read this question. What can other people do to support your cause?
This is a very
That's a very
impressive
interesting one.
and
Yeah.
interesting. Yes.
I think, well, at this point, we're really trying to find connections to work with, and we're doing a lot of like networking to move out of this university structure, actually, and to really get in touch with people. So if you are curious and you want to connect with us, you can connect through our Instagram, the Eplus and then _collective.
Yes, and indeed also one of our goals again is to create networks, sustainable networks and communities to expand these really important and sensitive topics, which are sometimes difficult to talk about, for example. So really break the ice. So just even if you want to make a difference, if you want to do something, you can even start with your friends. You can even start with people close to you, just to start to address this topic. And when we will have this tool ready, we can share this tool with you as well.
Yes, exactly. And I think in the meantime, we also want to say, for example, to other researchers or other artists, we want to encourage people to sort of step out of their step out of your lane. So I think in our society, you know, things are really divided. You have the academic research, you have the education, and you have the arts, and a lot of that doesn't really go together, or it's just approached very differently. So I'd like to give a challenge to actually combine it and to be open for that try.
Yes, indeed. And I do have a question.
Yes.
So, how to go more into like daily life?
Mhm.
So we are two students working together in Zandam at the Hem, really outside, you know, the world, and quite as isolated as well. So how was your daily routine in the last 3 months?
Yeah, my daily routine. Yeah, I think it was interesting because we're just the two of us now, right? And we've been living together. Our daily routines are very different. So I'm really this morning person. So in the morning, I wake up, I do all my like self-care. Also, because we're working with quite sensitive topics. I really try to, you know, do my sports, meditate, read. I often start my day with reading, and I'm always reading on my topics and on embodiment and issues of trauma, because yeah, the issues that I'm working with now are really also the things that I would look into just as a as a hobby or an interest. So basically, when I wake up, I'm busy with this, and that's, you know, that intrinsic motivation. Um, yeah, and it really depends per day. So my mornings are quite the same. In the afternoons, either, you know, we go somewhere, we have teaching, or and I try to do a lot of art myself to really stay in that space.
Yeah, that's
How
yeah.
about you?
So I'm not a morning person, so this is different. But because of Amber, I really started to wake up earlier, like 7:30.
Yes.
So yeah, I also do meditation and yoga in the morning to prepare myself. And I've been learning about free writing, for example, here in our program.
Exactly.
So you just put a timer, 30 minutes, and you write. You write about, you can have an intention, you have a question in your mind, but it's more related to my research. And yeah, I also
Yeah, and we work
read.
a lot together beside that as well, right? So our mornings are really often quite separate.
Yes, yes, indeed.
But yeah, most of the time we're researching, and at a certain point we come together and we talk for lunch, for example, and that's really when the ideas come out. And we've also organized these play days where we're actually just messing around with a lot of different materials, trying things out, and then we start to talk and reflect, and again, you know, all these new ideas start rolling. So we use this embodiment actually ourselves by, you know, doing play sports with our bodies together, also with other people, meeting other people, lots of interaction. Yeah, and then also doing this research by ourselves and together.
Yes, indeed. We also had quite tough days because we were feeling quite alone because there is no structure, no university here. So we just had a studio. So
yeah, it's really also difficult to get in this mindset of somebody that does not tell you what to do, but you really have to tell it yourself. You have to get in contact with the teachers or with people that you want to work with and say, hey, I would like this from you. And that was something I really had to get used to.
Yes, so I think we are going to an end.
Yes, so again, if you're curious, if you'd like to know more, have any other questions or connections, you can find us on Instagram on the Eplus Collective.
And
And
we are
thank you.
very curious about
Yeah, we're very curious.
your questions. Thank you so much.